Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We're out here at the Woodland Homestead. We're just trying to make some improvements before winter hits here. Although I wish I would have made these improvements in the springtime. But we have to deal with water, obviously, out on a farm or any homestead. Water is a huge part of everything that we do outside. So we're gardening, we need to provide water to our gardens. We have to run sprinklers or whatever. We're out there with animals most of the time in different pastures and things, and we need to fill up water buckets and provide water to chickens and all these things. So today we're going to be dealing with a lot of things water. I'm going to show you how we handle water for our goats, our chickens, and also we're going to deal with some broken hose spigots. So let's first deal with the broken spigot on the back of the house so we can get some hoses hooked up, and then we will install a pretty sweet hose reel I want to show you guys, and then we'll take you for a tour in the chicken village, animal village, petting zoo, farm, whatever you want to call it, and we'll show you how we're watering things there. Let's get started. So the nice thing about this house is that they put a lot of premium material in here, a lot of premium appliances, components, and everything was built really well back in the 70s. And so they have all Woodford spigots on the house, which are all American-made hose spigots. And so they have replacement parts. These things are meant to last forever. The seals can go bad and other things, but we've got new handles and all new seals, new parts, new caps for everything, and new brass flanges and everything. So I'm going to take the handle off first. Looks like the splines are still good here. This whole thing needs to be remortared into the house. If that used to be rubber, it looks like it's some kind of cotton or something. All right, so this should unscrew. Just keep turning it once you go all the way out, and then keep turning, and that should unthread it on the inside. We have really hard water. You can see all the rust in here. Rust on there makes it kind of tight. This part here we're going to keep. This is the valve, and what this does is there's a reason this is so long is this goes in the house. This is like a frost-proof type, and so when this turns off, the water is actually turned off way back in the house or in the wall cavity, and this is where the actual valve is, way in there. It's a good 12 inches in there, and that way in the wintertime you don't have water all the way out to the head here. If the valve was right here, this would freeze on the outside, break this pipe, and so this way keeps the water on the inside, and you don't really need to turn the water off for these kinds of spigots in the wintertime. They shouldn't freeze. So just trying to work this seal out of here. There's the seal, the inner seal. So I'm going to see if I have some cleaner that I think I have some that CLR takes rust stains off. Let's see if I can get some of that on here. So the new kit has a new handle, and actually it looks like it is metal, so we'll use the new one. It's got that new packing nut or outer nut there that goes on. New washer, long screw for the handle. Two washers, the one that goes on the inner spot there, and this is the one that actually seals the valve, and then this one goes on the outside. That was that initial packing we took out, and then this is the screw that replaces mounts that washer in there. So it shows the flat side of this washer going on the inside of this. Make sure I don't drop it here. Okay, so on the inside you can see the threads. So this cleaned up pretty good. If I would have left it in that CLR, let it soak for a while, it would take all this off, but I was a little bit nervous that it was taking too much off. It looked like it was starting to pit this right here, so we'll just leave it as is and put it back in there. So it actually fits in there a little better now. Okay, so we'll get that threading started. And in case you forgot, it shows you the order. So we got our flat washer that's going to go in first. It looks like the flat side is out, so I'll leave it that way. So I'm just going to use the handle here to thread that inner piece back in. I'm not going to over tighten it. If it leaks a little bit, we'll tighten it up. Turn the water back on and see how it works. Right now water's on, nothing's leaking. It looks like it's the valve inside is working. I'm going to close my splitter off here and open it and see if it leaks. Perfect. All right, so now we have this fixed. This has a brass splitter on it. Again, I talk about these all the time, but these are the ones to get. They have brass flippers on them, and the valves are just nice and tight. This stuff doesn't break. The plastic doesn't get brittle and break off, and so these are the way to go. But this one actually runs down to a future gardening area, and then this hose runs all the way over to the other side of the house, and down halfway down this hill there's the other end of that irrigation tubing that comes out, and that gives us a water source that we can hook hoses up to and get down the hill, which will allow us to water things down in this area. And then our future gardening, see that brick little fire pit that they left here, that's going to be the future gardening area right up on that little rise. And so we'll have a water source. We can get a hose over there and take care of that. So the other gardening spots is down this little hill here. We've had some peppers put in. We had some other stuff growing, broccoli and melons and some tomatoes and other stuff that's all dying back here. It's fall. And then down the hill we have strawberries planted all throughout there that will spread out and cover the ground here. And we have apple trees. And my goat just recently got out and ate half the leaves off those, so we'll see how they survive in the spring. But so we've got a hose run over here, and the plan is to mount a hose reel right on the side of the deck. We've got this pretty sweet stainless steel hose reel. It's got an automatic feed system for the hose, so it actually goes back and forth and feeds the hose on there evenly as it reels around. So I'm excited to set this up. So we're gonna get this mounted in the wall here, get this hooked up, and see how well it works. Let's get the handle put on. So this is all metal. So this is a guide system that moves back and forth the way I understand it. So this looks like this actually can engage or disengage this hose guide. So all these grooves in here, basically it's a double direction thread. So this right here grabs in these threads, and as this spins, it will move it one way or the other. Once it gets to the end, it actually jumps it into the other grooves, and then it starts to move it back to the other side. So it goes back and forth, and you can disengage that by pulling this little lever out. So the bolts that this came with are actually for brick, as far as I can understand it. These look like some kind of an expansion bolt. So you drill this hole into your brick or cement block, whatever it is. This gets inserted in here, and then as you screw this in, this actually expands out and prevents it from backing out in your hole. So, but I don't have any nice pretty stainless steel lag bolts to put in here, so I'm actually going to try to use these in wood. So we'll drill a hole through. We've got some 2x6s up here. We'll drill into, and I'm going to try to use this in the wood and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we'll just adjust, and I'll have to go get some lag bolts for it. I'm sure she won't mind if I cut her flowers back just a little bit. Another brass splitter right here. So this will, for now, provide water for this area. screwed in right here to brass. Nice brass fittings, I love that. All right, well that's that. It's an old brittle hose that I brought from the farm, and it doesn't really work very well in here because it kinks. But that's just because it's a bad hose. So this is a classic example of kind of the rubber hoses versus the vinyl hoses, and there's different combinations of that. Some of them will survive better over time. So this hose here, I believe, was a vinyl or a combination, and this one actually has been really, really good. 3/4 inch hose. It's a bigger hose, and so you really do want to pay attention to what you're getting. This one I actually found at the farm, I think, when we moved in, but and it actually doesn't even have a fitting on the end of it. So we've got a splitter here, and then this will go up and around to the farm area to supply water up there. So this whole circus of hoses that we have here is not the permanent solution, of course. This is just temporary, and we've been using a situation kind of like this for the whole summertime. The real solution will be to fix one more spigot. There's one down here by this actually non-functional air conditioning unit. This one needs to be fixed as well. This leaks. I have it turned off in the house because it leaks so bad. Once I have this one fixed, it's much closer to that hose reel. We can hook this up and run the hose under the deck so you'll never see it. But that hose, for now, at least until winter, and I need to pack all these up anyway, this provides water for the animals. And so right now I just have this hooked up to another brass splitter, and this kind of feeds everything out here. So ideally I would have a frost-free spigot out here, and eventually I'll be able to bury something and somehow connect to the house somewhere. But the way this house is designed, a whole other story. But for now, this diverter gives us a fill right here, so we can fill buckets and carry those around to some of the animals. And we also have the automatic watering systems hooked up in the chicken, so that's the Farmer Brad automatic heated watering system. I always mention these. This one, obviously you can't use the autofill all winter, but you can use this for the summertime. And it actually has a heated bottom on it, so you just pop the lid off and you can pour water in it for the winter. But all summer this just stays hooked up out here, and we never have to worry about water for them. Also have a heated bucket here. These have been great for the goats. So part of homesteading, and I'll differentiate between farming and homesteading here. On a farm, if you're doing it full time, you manage animals differently, I think. But for a homesteader, maybe somebody who has a full-time job outside of the home, you have to, if you want to do more, you want to raise more animals, you want to provide more food for yourself, gardens and all that stuff, you have to automate as much as you possibly can. So all the little menial tasks, all the things that you're going to repeat every single day, the feeding and the watering mainly are those things, whether it's for a garden or whether it's for animals. Gardens, you can use sprinkler systems and irrigation systems and timers and hook up water to that stuff where you have better growth and you don't have to remember to water that stuff. Same with animals. Animals are healthier when they always have access to fresh water. So the more time I have to spend caring for the animals, being with the animals, doing other things, building cement giant stone shelters for them, expanding pastures, really doing the work that's going to improve the life for the animals and the life for us and providing more food and things. If I can divert more of my time to that rather than just coming out with buckets of water or filling things up or running hoses around, all that stuff, if I can set up systems that automate that process, that's going to save me time, allow me to expand quicker and provide more food and better care for the animals. So ideally, the goal would be out here to have, I just right now have a little water in there that I have to fill every day and a little feeder in there I have to fill every day for our baby chicks, which are actually not too much babies anymore. But ultimately I would have an automatic water in there for them that would be hooked up to a hose line. I have the automatic water and feeder in here. If we had to leave for a couple days, these guys can survive in there in that little area for days. How do I say that? Start over. So ideally, we would have an automatic water and feeder set up for our baby chicks, for our brooding coop here. We would have the automatic water and feeder set up for these guys out here. We would have an automatic water and feeder set up for not only the duck but also the goats, and have that all taken care of. And then even the rabbits, they make little automated drinkers for them that you can run small tubing to. So you can see this on the Farmer Brad setup here. He's got this little, I think it's a 1/4 inch tubing that's hooked into the hose adapter. And you don't need to run hoses to all these things. They don't need a ton of water. They just need little bits at a time to top it off. So you can actually run this 1/4 inch tubing, you know, underground. You can take a shovel and just stick it in the ground and spade it away and make a crack, and you can shove in, you know, a bunch of this 1/4 inch tubing and run it underground to all these animal shelters and all these different auto fills, and that allows you to have, you know, really easily underground water to everything. You could bury that deep enough to actually, you know, just run water to everything even in the wintertime, and have it come up and use heat tape and other things to provide automated winter water as well. Don't forget to reach down and tap thumbs up, and of course thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, subscribe, tag along. Lots of DIY things and homesteading and lots of indoor gardening coming up. I'm excited about growing some food inside. So as always guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.